So before that, you were at Stanford. You dealt blackjack. You bagged groceries. You worked at an oil rig, correct?
Correct. So
take us there.
Okay. So my first job, I call it a courtesy clerk instead of bagging groceries.
Apologize. I'm trying to be culturally sensitive.
So I started working at Lucky's, which was in Phoenix, which is across the street from my house, like a 2-block walk. And so I worked 4 days a week. And that was the money I made to buy a bike or go out on a date or do anything. Because, I grew up very, in a great family, very happy family, but very, middle class, even though I thought we were rich. So, I had to work for everything I ever did. So, which was great because it gave me obviously a great work ethic and appreciation for work and for money. And I, wanted to make money. So I worked as a courtesy clerk. And then when I went to Stanford, I worked as a stock boy at Lucky's, which is where I started in Phoenix. And by the time I was doing that, I was making real money, like $18 an hour, which back then was a ton.
Yeah.
And then the next summer, instead of doing that, I lugged beef at Arizona Beef. I literally would go to the slaughterhouse. The cows would come in. They would.
Oh, no.
And then I was the guy who they would be hanging on the rack or the hook. And I'd go like this and I'd swing.
Like Rocky.
Like Rocky, except for I wouldn't punch him. I'd put it on my back and lugged it over to the truck, threw it up there, and then we'd go deliver it to grocery stores. And then I'd bring half the cattle into the grocery store.
I mean, hey, if you're out there listening and you've ever eaten beef, I mean, that's how it happens. Right.
But it paid a lot. So I had all these jobs that made a lot of money for, a kid my age at that time. And then the next summer, I worked with a buddy of mine on an oil rig as a roustabout. So that's like
what was that?
The lowest man on the totem pole in the
just where you want to be.
Yeah, on the oil rig. It was a ship with a drill in the middle of it. And so we would be just running around doing what anyone asked us to do. And basically what we did mostly was there was a crane operator who carried pipes and, drilled the holes and took supplies off. And we basically had to primarily hook whatever they were moving onto the crane. It was dangerous. And I remember...
Like Armageddon?
The movie?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
They like work on an oil rig in Armageddon.
Yeah, then it's like Armageddon.
Okay.
And so I remember going to my mom and show her how much every limb was worth. Because if I lost a finger, hand, an arm, how much they were going to pay me.
For insurance?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or I guess it's probably for liability, for exposure. So they made us sign something which basically valued different limbs. And thank God.
Do you think it equated to the value of a limb?
I don't know. They all sounded like a lot of money to me. So I was it lives an arm.
Yeah, $700 for your thumb. Oh, man, that's so wild.
So I always worked hard, always had, jobs that actually made a lot of money, for me. I remember going into my senior year in college and had like $3,000 in the bank, which was huge, for 1980, 81.
That's incredible.
I was able to buy a lot of beer.
There we go. There it is. Casamigos didn't exist yet, so.
Yeah.
The Coors Light train.
So then you went from those jobs to college and then straight out of college into real estate and then...
Yeah, I was going... My parents put me through Stanford, which was a stretch for them. I mean, it was a lot of money at the time. I think tuition was $6,000 a year. I can't imagine what it is now, but that's $18,000 a year because it was on semesters. And so there was a lot of money. And the whole reason they put me through Stanford was for me to go to law school because I always wanted to be a lawyer.
And Grandpa went to Marquette Law, right?
Yeah. My dad went to Marquette Law, and my grandfather went to Marquette Law. And his brother went to Marquette Law, and his other brother went to Marquette Medical School. So I was kind of destined to be a lawyer and go to Marquette. And probably the best thing that ever happened to me was that I bombed the LSATs.
Wow.
I love that.
I don't know how low my score was, but I got my name right, and that was probably the only thing.
Thank you for watching Studio 22.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And follow our socials at Studio 22 Podcast.